How we doing, everybody? Matt Modai on behalf of DGF Fantasy here to give you a 6-pick entry on PrizePicks. And if this bad boy cashes, we will 25x our money. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can at my Twitter handle, Jedi Modai. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to use the DGF Fantasy Optimizer to find selections to put into a PrizePicks entry. We're going to be talking a lot about PrizePicks strategy in this video. Now, there are a couple things that I want to note at the very beginning. Number one, when you are using PrizePicks, the most mathematically optimal entry is either 5 or 6 pick options. Now, I understand that that probably sounds a little bit scary because obviously if you have 5 or 6 picks, you need to hit, between 4, 5, 6, whatever, in order to be profitable, to make money. And obviously, that's more than if you only put 2. But you need to think about it from a value perspective, right? And the way it works is with PrizePicks, with Underdog, with these DFS companies, you don't get charged any extra juice, Like the odds are the exact same whether you take the over or the under, right? Which is kind of crazy, and we'll get into that. But the payouts are going to be the exact same. And based on those payouts, as I mentioned, the best bang for your buck is a 5 or 6 pick flex. So that's kind of the first thing to note. And then I mentioned this previously, you don't get charged any extra juice whether you take the over or the under, right? And let's just look at some props here on the DGF, the DFS optimizer screen, right? We see, here's a play that we put in our entry, Josh Naylor under 1.5 total bases. So there's a lot to take in here, which we'll get into. But what I want to highlight here are these odds on the right. And we can see where all these sportsbooks price this play, right? Minus 135 on Pinnacle. Also on DraftKings, also on BetMGM. Minus 130 at Bet365. Minus 137 at BetOnline. Minus 135 at Caesars. Minus 148 at Barstool. All of these sportsbooks think that the more likely scenario is that Naylor goes under this basis prop, right? They have him pretty decently in the minus money. Well, because they have him in the minus money, that's them telling you, hey, we think that he's likely to go under, so we're going to charge a little bit more for you to take his under because it's more likely to hit. Well, PrizePicks doesn't do that, right? We see 6 correct, 25 extra money. Well, let's change Naylor to more than. Same exact payout. 6 correct, 25 extra money, regardless of if I took his over or his under. Well, if you're getting charged the same exact juice, no matter what, doesn't it make sense to take the plays that the sportsbooks are telling you are likely to hit? And that's pretty much the best strategy when it comes to PrizePicks. Literally find plays that are more likely than not to hit, put those in a PrizePicks entry, and you pretty much just made an optimal entry. Now, in terms of this middle column here, odds to hit. So this is based off of the proprietary DGF line that you see here. Essentially, DGF calculates what they deem to be the true line of a market, convert those odds into a percent. And the percent that you want to stay above when you're using a 5 and 6 pick flex on PrizePicks is like the 52.5%. If you're above that number, then you're good to go. The reason why, and it's a whole mathematical thing, it's basically just based on the payout. Like if you took the payout and you divided it by 5 or 6 picks, whatever you're playing, that equates to a single leg break-even percent of about 52.5%. Meaning, if you hit above 52.5% of your individual legs on a 5 or 6 pick flex, you will be profitable in the long run. So that's kind of where these odds, what you want to look for. Now you see like yellow, orange, red. You see darker red. Don't let red tell you like, hey, this is bad. This is actually unprofitable. It's just the higher the number, the more profitable. And as long as you stay above that like 52.5%, then you're good to go. And again, what you need to remember, we're 25xing our money if this hits. That's 2,500 odds. You only really need to hit like 5% of these. You only really need to hit 5% in order to make money. So yeah, you could lose 9 in a row. You hit that one, you go 1 of 10, you are making money. So that's another thing to keep in mind is just the break-even percent for these whole entries are so low because of how high the odds are. Now we can go through the legs of our entry and why they're good. Number 1, Paul Goldschmidt fantasy score over 7. So only really one sportsbook is giving you odds for this one. It's DraftKings at minus 117. That is what the DGF proprietary line has it at as well, probably because of DraftKings. Percent to hit just under 54%. that makes it a good entry. So that is the first leg that we have here. Paul Goldschmidt over 7 fantasy hitter score. But you really get an idea of how the product works is easier with ones that have more odds, kind of like what we talked about with the Josh Naylor one. But before we get to that, I did also like this one as well. Heimer Candelario, hope I pronounced his name correct, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, HRR. DGF calculates the true line of this to be at -135, which makes sense when we see DraftKings and Bovada also price it at -135. So this is our second leg of the entry, right? We have more than. And now we get to the Josh Naylor pick. So I talked about this one a little bit, right? I showed you all the odds and where the sportsbooks price it. DGF calculates their true line at -136, giving this a percent odds to hit of about 53.77. We notice all of these are above the 53, right around the 53.5 mark. That's above the 52.5 mark, which is a good sign for us. And you understand where the DGF proprietary line comes from when you look at the odds from every other sportsbook. So as long as the sportsbooks are telling you that the play you are taking on PrizePicks is likely to hit, that's a good sign. So this is our third leg, Josh Naylor under 1.5 bases. I locked in this or added it to the entries you can see right here. 3 more very similar logic for all 3 of these. Jake Marisnick over 0.5 bases. Jacob Amaya also over 0.5 bases. And then Taylor Walls, same thing, over 0.5 bases. The DGF calculates the true line of this to be at -134 for all 3 of them. And when you look at the odds from all the sports books for all 3 of these plays, you understand why. Bet365 looks like it has everything at -130. And then we see odds range from like -134 to -139, right? All of them in the -130s. You put that into a percent, you get the odds to hit about the 53.5% mark, which is a good sign for us. And you see all 3 of these were added to our entry. Jake Marisnick, Jacob Amaya, Taylor Walls, all over 0.5 bases. When we get all 5 or 6 of these, to cash, we will turn $10 into $250. And that's how you use the fantasy optimizer, the DGF DFS optimizer, to find plays on PrizePicks. It's actually doesn't take that much work. You know how it works. But really all you need to do is just find plays above the 52.5% mark, put them into an entry, and then start watching your profits grow. And that's it. That's all I got. So if you're tailing, comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching and have a good one.